Hello everyone, welcome back to Planet Coaster and welcome back to Summer Heights. We're taking a break from the Fisherman's Wharf area of the park now, and just for this episode we're going to work on the restaurant, which is going in near the entrance plaza, near the entrance building. We had a restaurant already up where there's a row of facades behind the carousel, sort of raised up on the path there. But we had a lot of problems with guests actually using it, and because they couldn't work out the pathing system that I had in there, they started getting stuck and waving their arms about, and it took me hours to actually work out why the guests kept getting stuck. I thought there was a problem with barriers all around the park because they're doing it everywhere. Turns out it was because they couldn't get into the restaurant, and they wanted to go and buy food and eat. So I decided that we'll just scrap that restaurant, and I just covered up the door and just made it into an empty facade, so that the three buildings over there are a row of facades, which I built in episode 2, I believe, if you want to go back and just see what I'm on about there. But we copied quite a lot over from the interior of the restaurant because I felt that there were some nice touches in there. Although I do make a fair amount of changes here to the interior as well. So just using the Ghostbusters walls there, the city, I think they're called the city brick walls, they look really nice for this style of building. We're going for a sort of American diner type restaurant, you know, like sort of like a Hard Rock cafe, I guess, but not quite as fancy. So yeah, a nice sort of classic interior in a way, but you know, with the diner style seating, you'll see what I mean as we start working on it. But really, to start with, I was just playing the game unpaused so that I could make sure the guests weren't getting stuck and they could actually access these food outlets. So we've just got a chief beef in there and a gulpy soda, is it? Just a fizzy drink stall. And then I copy across just a little private staff area door and the toilets building as well, or the restrooms rather. Yeah, so I haven't really decided whether this park's going to be in the USA or in Europe or wherever. But because we call them restrooms, or in the end I think we call them restrooms, we're probably going to go with the USA, but it's not really that important where the park is. You know, we're trying to go for realism, but it could be anywhere. It's quite a generic theme park in a way, even though it's got some interesting themes. And this is what I'm trying to get across, really. I'm really trying to do my own sort of ideas for themes. Realistic themes that you see in theme parks, but not just using the in-game ones. I want to try and make my own pieces and stuff like I have been doing so far in this park. So here we're working on the tables and chairs for the restaurant, and you'll see what I mean in a minute where we go for this classic American diner feel. I'm going to make some of them practical, that's not the word I'm looking for, is it? Usable, I guess, would be the closest word to what I'm looking for there. But yeah, I'm going to have some of them there just for show, because some of the benches don't want to fit in the places that I want them, and we're just having these all along the sides, so there's plenty of room in the middle for people to walk up to the food stalls and get their food, so that works out quite nicely. Just using some of the adventure pieces there, because I like the sort of shiny texture of them, and I think they work well for seat covers here. And then we're just making it rounded on the end to look like one of those diner seats. You know exactly the ones I'm talking about. You see them in sort of a lot of American style restaurants and fast food chains and things like that. So those are the seating areas that we pick for inside the building. And it was around this sort of point where I decided that I'm going to have to change quite a bit about the interior for the building, because like I said before, I copied a lot over from the previous restaurant, but then I decided we need a bit more, well, we need to be able to see in better, because I was using another Ghostbusters wall piece for the windows, and the glass is quite thick, so you can really see in that well. And it's slightly themed as well, which isn't really what I wanted. So I changed it to just a normal sort of sheet of glass, or a normal glass window or something like that, and put in some of the details. But I just had to shuffle everything around a bit, like you can see I'm about to do here, just to make it all fit in better. Because there's no point in making a really nice interior which you can't see at all from the outside. Well, I suppose there is, because you can go in it, but I did want this one to be visible from outside as well. So yeah, and I like these decoration pieces as well. We had them in the old restaurant. I think they're from the Victorian pieces set in the whatever DLC that was, the vintage pack, I guess. So yeah, that all looks quite nice. And obviously we do like a lot of work on the exterior of the restaurant as well. There's a seating area out there looking over a little body of water that I put in later on in the episode. But yeah, jumping ahead a bit there, I guess. I look like I'm really struggling here to get this window piece in, but one thing I do like doing now is just building one thing and then copying it across with a wall, because I know it'll be exactly on grid, and it's a lot less messing about than using the I can't remember what it's called, the move tool, you know, the one where you press X and drag it along. Advanced move tool, that's the one I'm looking for. Not even that complicated. Just changing the floor colour a bit there then for the restaurant, because I feel like that looks a bit better, rather than just having it completely black. And then we start working on the outside of the building itself, on the exterior, and again using the brick pieces there. Sorry, we cut forward a bit there. I didn't want this video to be too long, so there are some bits missed out. But yeah, I had this idea for a big rounded glass section out the front, similar to several sort of American style restaurants that I know of, and I just think it adds interest to the building. We don't want too many square box buildings in this park, so that's what we go for there. And it takes a while because I add quite a lot of detailing to the glass section as well, and then later on in the episode it ends up having a circular dome thing on top as well, like most of the buildings in this park do, because, you know, I hate my computer and I want this to have as many pieces as possible. Performance wise, at the moment, if I'm looking away from the Fisherman's Wharf area and the Shark Coaster, it runs fairly well. We're getting sort of 35-40 FPS, but over in that area with the coaster it's going down to just above 20, like 22. You know, I don't have a high performance computer at all, so it's just something that we're going to have to deal with. This isn't going to be a huge park anyway. I'm thinking of doing 3 different themed areas and then leaving it at that, but I do like to do the heavy detailing in some areas. And also I've used a few TMTK pieces, and that's probably slowing it down as well, so something that probably in future I don't want to use too much of, stuff from TMTK, but we'll see how it goes anyway. Like I say, we're still getting okay performance at the moment, so that's the main thing. When the park's finished as well, it will go up on the workshop, so any of you that have got really good computers can download it and have a play about in it yourself. But yeah, the glass windows now are sort of coming together. Obviously this front one's going to come out and just be a doorway, sort of the big entrance into the restaurant here. In reality, this would probably have a door on the left hand side there leading to the outside seating area, but for the purpose of, you know, looks over realism here, I went for, I just left it completely shut, so you'd actually have to walk out the front. Well, I suppose It depends how it works. The waiter will come out the front and walk round, but that doesn't really happen in theme parks, does it? You pick up your own food and sort of take it to your seat yourself. So yeah, you'd have to go all the way round. But it just didn't fit in having a doorway sort of there, because I needed some place for the indoor seating as well. So yeah, that's just how it is. Dealing with these windows then, as you can see, has probably been about 10 times now that I've tried to do them, but it's quite difficult when you're doing something like this to make it fit in with the rest of the building, especially in a game like Planet Coaster, where you can look at things from all angles. So you don't want to walk into the restaurant and then look up and see that there's just things sticking through, and it has to be, you have to neaten things off in every little corner, which is part of the reason why I think things are so time consuming in this game, unless you're doing stuff really generic with the basic, you're just using the in-game theming as it's intended, where usually you can make a building there and it will look okay wherever you look at it, if you're not adding your own details, and doing stuff like this with the dome technique, where it really does, it puts objects completely off the grid, I guess. So you have to really focus. I'm definitely rambling again today. I've stopped listening to myself actually there. But yeah, once this is in, really we just sort of work on a roof and stuff like that before we go ahead and do the outside seating area. Like I say, with that we add a small body of water, like a little small pond, I guess, it's not big enough to be a lake, just to the left there of the seating area, so you can sit outside and overlook that back towards the entrance. I think it looks quite nice. And then I do a little bit of train work round the back, just to make it look more interesting when you're inside the restaurant looking out. And yeah, this will sort of be the border of the park anyway, really. Like I don't know if we're going to do fences around the park. I guess we should really, but it's not something I've particularly thought about, and it's not something that particularly looks aesthetically good anyway. Like the sort of higher themed parks like Disney parks try and hide things like that anyway, or you won't notice them. But I guess we need to add some bigger backstage areas anyway at some point. But again, I'm probably jumping ahead a bit here. So in the next episode we're going to try and finish off the Shark Attack coaster and the Fisherman's Wharf area. There's not really a lot to do, like I've said before, just some maybe a couple of flat rides and a couple of shops, and some basic Fisherman's Wharf theming, because I don't feel like buildings like that need to be heavily detailed anyway, so it should be able to be done in one episode, and that will be coming out within the next few weeks, all being well. So I'll leave you now to enjoy the rest of the time lapse, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.